What are the qualities to look for in a husband, in a godly husband? If you want a godly home, you want a godly marriage, and you're trusting God to get it right in your marriage, we believe that these 5 qualities are key for you to look out for. Maybe you're just married and you're wondering, what are the traits that I am to emulate as a Christian and a godly husband? These are the 5 traits you should begin to work on right away. If you're yet to be married, you should actually absolutely write these 5 things down and start working on them straight away.
Yeah.
If you're a young lady as well, write these 5 qualities down and begin to look out for them. We are not saying you need to marry a perfect man, but we say that there are key qualities, key characteristics that you must see in a man, for you to actually be able to see that this person has the potential to actually be a great husband. Should we jump right in?
Yes, because being a husband is not a piece of cake. It's not.
Like we say in Nigeria, it's not beans.
Yeah. So, and if you're a guy also, you need to brush these things up if you do not have these qualities yet. So you need to work on yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's jump right in. The very first one, many of you can absolutely guess it because we are talking about, this is kingdom marriage, right?
Yeah.
Is that person loves God and they are a born again child of God. It sounds like a cliche, but it is the truth.
Absolutely.
Not everyone that goes to church is a born again child of God. Am I correct?
Absolutely. You're correct, 100%. I like the way Pastor Kingsley Okonkwo says it sometimes. He says, because I sleep inside a garage does not make me a car.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He says there's so many people in a hospital, like church is just like a hospital, and that's, not everybody's responding to treatment. Absolutely.
Not everyone is responding to treatment.
So you've got to be very careful. Some people just go to church for all sorts of reasons, for social reasons, networking reasons, So you've got to know why this person is going to church. So the fact that, they go to church doesn't mean that they are born again. Yeah.
So it must be someone who loves God with all their heart. In other words, God is their priority. In fact, the person must love God more than they love you. Yeah, I remember there was a time when I was courting my wife, I heard God speak to me very clearly. And he said, if you love her more than you love me, I will take her away from you. I think I heard something like that. It was a very powerful one. So I realized that, I cannot make her priority over God. God has to be my priority. And I feel like that is a major quality of a good husband, when that person truly loves God with all their heart, with all their soul, and with all their might, then you know clearly that this person is also capable of loving you. Someone that doesn't love God is not capable of loving you wholeheartedly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Someone who has not also experienced true love is from God. They do not have that regenerated spirit, that regenerated, heart. There is no way. I mean, they will say they love you, which is sort of like just the emotions and stuff, the chemicals in your body and make you to go gish. But when push comes to shove, that's when you actually realize that this person genuinely loves me.
God,
and Amos 3:3 says that can 2 walk together except they be agreed. So there has to be an agreement spiritually, first of all. And if there is no agreement spiritually, that is a red flag. Do not sacrifice your life on the altar of marriage to somebody who cannot lead you spiritually, as a man. The husband is supposed to be the priest of the home, and if he cannot fulfill that purpose, then he cannot lead you God's way. There is no point, so do not submit yourself to that kind of person. If he is yet to know God, then it's a no automatically.
If he cannot lead you in God, he should not lead you in life. And that's very true.
Powerful.
If he cannot lead you in God, he cannot lead you in life. If he's not showing spiritual leadership, please don't commit any other aspect of your life into his hands. That person should have a personal relationship with God. They must be walking with God. Because see, this thing is very contagious in marriage. If you marry a man who doesn't pray, who doesn't read their Bible, who doesn't have a relationship with God, doesn't have any fellowship with the Holy Spirit, to be very sincere, it is most likely going to rub off on you. Why?
Absolutely.
Because the person's attitude, the person's character, the person's way of life when it comes to God and spiritual things would dampen your own if you're not careful. So it is extremely important that you marry someone that you challenge each other spiritually. You challenge each other in terms of spiritual growth, and that's very powerful.
It's very critical, and it's not just enough for the person to say that they are born again, because this these days, everybody's born again.
Everybody. Yeah.
Everybody will just say, I'm born again, but it's not just in words. Bible says that by their fruits you shall know them. So what kind of character, what kind of traits, what kind of virtues do they exhibit when you see them? Is there yes, is there no, or they live a different kind of lifestyle in church, and outside of church is a different kind of lifestyle. Even if the person claims to be a pastor or a minister or whatever title the person has got in the church, that is not enough reason to assume that they are born again. You've got to see that they have the traits of God.
See the fruits.
Exactly.
The Bible says a good tree has a good fruit or something like that. Like a bad fruit cannot come from a good tree. And a good fruit cannot come from a bad tree. So watch out for their fruit. Make sure that they genuinely have a relationship with God. And when I want to stress this very importantly, young ladies that are watching this, please don't marry a baby Christian yet. Wait for them to grow a little bit. Sometimes you see a fine boy that just came to church, gave their life to Christ last week.
In fact, you're the one that even led them to Christ. Because you're like, you have to tick this box.
Don't marry a baby Christian. Be patient. Allow the person to grow a bit. Let them grow. Let them. Because the person who's going to lead you in God, you should be someone who has fully assumed, their walk with God, so to speak. I'm not saying that they are perfect or they have become an apostle. No, I mean that you don't rush. They just got born again last week, but they're a fine brother. All of a sudden you went to position yourself. At least they are born again now. Remember, when someone gets born again, that person is their spirit and their soul. No, their spirit got born again, but their soul and their body is still being...
It takes time.
It takes time. It's a whole journey on its own. So don't be excited by the fact that, the brother is now born again. Some people, they are waiting for him to be born again. All of a sudden, they invited him to church. And they now say everybody who wants to give their life to Christ. Fine, brother. You see like 3 sisters.
So he's not born again at least.
It's like, we've been waiting for this day, Let's calm down.
Don't make haste when you're planning to get. Don't be in a hurry when it comes to the decision of who you want to choose. As your husband. Do not rush, because if you rush into decision, you might end up rushing out. So take your time. If the brother is yours, if God has said the brother is yours, that brother is going nowhere.
It's going nowhere.
So take your time.
It's not competition. Don't worry.
Yes, and ensure that the person you're getting married to is someone who is also committed to serving God. Especially if you are committed to serving God. That's part of the character trait we're talking about. Not somebody who just thinks that going to church is just one of those things you do every Sunday.
Some people don't even believe in going to church. They are born again, supposedly born again Christians who don't believe in going to church.
Yes, and they just isolate themselves at home because they believe that church is, whatever thing church has done to them. But it's important that this person is committed to serving God in God's house. Because when you actually commit to serving God, then it's going to be easier for him to serve you as a husband. You're marrying somebody who is already submitted to God to start with, and submitted to the service of God. And so through that service of God, he learns all sorts of things. He learns leadership. He learns how to manage people.
He learns submission too.
Yes, to authorities above him. And so when he's submitted, then it's likely that he's also going to be submitted and serving. Then it's going to be easier for him to also serve you as his wife.
Don't marry someone who's idle in church. Marry someone who is committed, because that person is likely to understand ministry. And that's very, very important for you if you are going to fulfill the purpose of God for your life. Let's continue. Number 2.
So another quality to look out for, we've matched about a few qualities together in number 2. Someone who is honoring, someone who is humble, someone who is teachable, and someone who is accountable. 4 qualities in one. Powerful.
They are very, very important qualities, and they kind of come together. Someone who is honoring is most likely to be humble. Someone who is humble is most likely to be teachable. Someone who is teachable is most likely to be accountable. But what do we actually mean by this? We mean that this person have people in their lives that they honor. We are dealing and have been dealing with some marriages right now that are tough. Especially the women are finding it very tough because they've married men who don't submit to anybody. They don't honor. If you are Jesus Christ and you appear in flesh again, and you come and tell them what to do, they will never listen to you. If you marry such a person, male or female, but today we're talking about a man. If you marry such a man, my sister, you are finished.
That was disastrous.
There's no other way to put it. You are finished.
Yeah.
If you marry someone who doesn't submit to anybody, they don't listen to anybody, nobody can call them to order.
They are the all in all. They're the most powerful. They're the all knowing. They're the most everything. And there are many men like that, who perhaps they never had that father figure in their lives. Perhaps they never had a mother figure in it. Perhaps they had this traumatic childhood where they were left to just be on their own too, and they grew up trying to live independent lives, to fend for themselves. And so they've realized, you know what, I don't need anybody to live my life. I can live my life the way I want it. And so they get married, and even you as a woman, you cannot tell them anything because it's whatever they say is final. It's going to be very dangerous because there will be times you communicate in any relationship, and same with marriage, you do a lot of more communication. There are times that both of you would have, many times you have different views, of course, because you've come from different backgrounds, different life experiences and things like that, and you want your husband to be someone who is actually able to listen to you, because that's your role as a helpmate. So if you cannot really help him make
you cannot help someone that doesn't listen to you.
Exactly. It's going to be tough for you. And if he doesn't listen to you, he doesn't even listen to anybody else. That's hard already. And when you have misunderstandings, or if it begins to treat you in ways that are not right, and you do not have anybody to sort of talk to or run to, because it's not going to listen to anybody, then that's dangerous, and that's why while you are still getting to know the person, I always tell people, before you even start courting a person, you've got to be friends with the person first of all, where there are no strings attached. You get to know the person, you ask the person important questions, you get to know what's their relationship with their father, what's their relationship with their mother, are they people that honor their parents, or they are people that they don't even care yet? Let that parents go to, some people let them go to hell. I don't send anybody. That if they can say that to their parents, they will say that 100% to you. Don't think that they love me, they just don't like their parents.
They just don't like their parents.
No way. Your own time is coming very, very soon.
Your own turn is coming. The truth is, go ahead. Yeah, the truth is this: anyone who, I know, let's balance this. There are some people that maybe their parents were woeful to them when they were growing up, like woeful. Maybe abandoned them, rejected them, and all of that. And because of that, they are struggling to actually have a good relationship with their parents. Let's get that right. However, what we believe, starting from that number one, is if you're a regenerated being and a regenerated child of God, whereas that relationship may not be smooth, but there will be no resentment, there will be no bitterness. There will be no unforgiveness towards such parents. You would have allowed God to work on you such that you are living a regenerated life. And that way, such a person now has a pure conscience to actually be able to love, and also be able to truly emulate a honoring relationship between a father and a son. And that's so important for you as a woman if you're going to marry such a person, because it is their disposition to their parents that would lead to their disposition to spiritual parents, spiritual authority. That would also lead to how they train your children. Some people will say, but they actually train their children properly. No, it may look as if that they are doing that, but everyone is most likely, oftentimes 90% of the time, function based on your subconscious mind. And our subconscious mind is filled with our memories and our history and our experiences. Whereas you are trying to change, if you are not actually consciously working on changing, which includes for being a forgiving person, you are most likely to repeat the very same thing you are trying to avoid. Most likely. Watch it, everyone. You are most likely parenting the way your parents parented you, even though you may not like some things, because we are most likely going to function based on our subconscious mind. And that's why what we are sharing here is extremely crucial. Check their relationship with their parents, because the Bible says honor your father and your mother. That's the only commandment with a promise. It said that your days will be long and you will live well. So if you go and marry somebody who's not honoring their parents, irrespective of what that parent may have done to them, that person won't live long. And it won't be well with them. And you are now joining your blood with that blood. Is blood covenant. Marriage is blood covenant, which means it will not be well with you too. And that means if you're not careful, you too will die. So it's very be careful what you're getting into.
Yeah. And just talking about teachability and accountability also, I mean, there are people in life that for whatever reason they may have lost their parents genuinely, but who are the people that they are under, that they have submitted themselves to? My husband talked about spiritual parents. There could be mentors, people that there should be people in their lives that they're able to look up to, such that by the time you're wanting to get married to them, there are people that can speak positive words over their lives. And there are also people that can call them to order, like, guy, you're not behaving well. This is how you should be. And that this husband is going to listen.
He's going to listen to those people.
So it's very, very important. If a guy tells you, no, I don't want to have anything to do with anybody, and everybody has hurt me, they've broken my heart, I don't trust anybody, and it's just
what do they call that? Red flag. No, that one is what's redder than red?
It's red.
Sorry, continue.
That's a huge red flag. It's a huge red flag, because why is that everybody around him, or he believes that everybody around him is evil or is
they're
bad,
against him,
or and you are the only person that is good that he can't trust.
You must be special.
But at the same time, that doesn't give you, when you're getting married to this person who has isolated themselves or ostracized themselves from everybody else, then you place yourself in a position where you are not going to be secure, in that marriage, because then you do not have anybody to look up to also, or run to, that he is submitted to.
Very important.
So that's dangerous for
we
marriage.
found in marriage that sometimes you both could be at a loggerhead about a particular issue, whatever issue that is, and it's very important that man has someone that they submit to. Someone, maybe you just both can agree on that thing, and maybe deep in your heart, that maybe what you're sharing is true or whatever, or maybe you just need someone to mediate. If that person doesn't listen to anyone, there'll be no person that can mediate. And how do you know this kind of person? Let's get it right. If this person honors your own mentors, they honor your own mentor, there's a likelihood they also value mentorship relationship. If they also honor your own spiritual parents, there's a likelihood they too, honor that relationship. But if they're already disdaining your mentors,
what's the point? Why? What's the point of?
Why do you need a mentor? Like, there's one we're dealing with right now. Why do you need a mentor? All these mentors that you guys just give money and all that. Like, it does not see the need for it. It doesn't see the need for spiritual parenthood, and that lady is just suffering. Because, someone who doesn't listen to people who are older than him, people who will never listen to you as a person. And I don't know what kind of marriage you're having if your husband cannot listen to you. So this is what we are saying here is very, 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 very crucial.
It may not make sense if you are right now, but when you get into marriage, you realize that it makes a whole lot of sense.
Please don't go and marry Lucifer. It's Lucifer that would not even want to stay under God. Not to talk of anybody. Pride goes before a fall. So be very, 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 very careful. This one is a major, I've come to realize it, is a major thing that can make or break a marriage, that can make you either miserable or happy in a home. If you marry someone who is not honoring, does not honor anybody, they don't ever give, everybody is like their mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They look down on everybody.
They look down on anyone. It's me against the world kind of mindset. For whatever reason, it may seem like they have a genuine reason.
Yeah.
But please don't marry such a person. Just be their counselor and their.
Clearly, that person has not healed from whatever hurts. So that person is still traumatized. Let them go for their own healing, their own therapy,
and all of that.
That.
Don't be their therapist, though.
That would be very exhausting. Extremely exhausting in a relationship, let alone marriage. It would be so exhausting.
I know some women will be like, by the grace of God, even me too, I'm not perfect. But see these points that we're talking about, we are not talking about, it's not perfection. This one, if a man has not really submitted himself to anybody, they cannot submit to you. Because we always talk about submission alone from the point of a woman to a man, and for a man to a woman to a man.
Right.
But the truth is, submission is also required from a man to a woman too. The Bible says submit to one another in love. So it's if someone cannot submit to spiritual parents, mentors, and they will not submit to you. This is extremely crucial.
Yeah, can I just also add that when you meet this kind of men, sometimes they come and they would, to you they are perfect. They are very nice. They are very soft spoken. They tell you all the sweet stuff that you need to hear. In fact, the way they approach it, they will make you feel a lot of pity for them. Like, wow, these people have gone. You feel like, wow, this guy has gone through a lot in life.
Yeah.
And ladies, can I tell you something? Do not ever marry somebody out of pity. Do not ever marry somebody out of pity.
Maybe you are their savior.
Never ever. That is dangerous. That is also a red flag. Make sure that you genuinely love this person, not out of pity. That, if I don't marry this person, their life is going to be miserable. They've suffered in life, they don't have anybody to look up to. They don't have it. You're not the person. They should now be you should be their savior. No. You don't do marriage like that.
Yeah.
So if you're going to get married to someone, make sure that person actually, they have come to the understanding of the role that they have played also in all of these things.
Yeah.
Not just someone who is just blaming the world and blaming everybody for his predicament.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Somebody leave a comment here. I said, but I also believe, good content, but I also believe, and I have seen a marriage in the brink of disaster because a man decides to be a good man, to be the good man, making some of us believe that good men don't get the best. I don't agree, Roland. We don't have full details of, for instance, what does a good man mean? What are the circumstances of that home? But good also doesn't mean godly. That's also another thing. That someone says they decide to be a good person doesn't mean they are godly. We are not talking about moral compass here. We're talking about the fruit of the Spirit. Compass, if we have the full details, then perhaps we can speak into that. But of course, it also depends on sometimes who you have married to.
It's vice versa. Yeah, and next week we'll be talking about qualities you should look for in the wife.
In a godly wife. Watch out for that one as well. We'll be talking to the ladies. So men, if you are watching this, don't feel like we're attacking you.
It's love.
Yeah. All right. Number 3, someone who has found their purpose and they also have a vision. This is number 3. I have studied purpose for a while, and one thing I've come to realize about purpose that is so powerful is that it helps give you a sense of direction. When you discovered your purpose, all of a sudden you are able to walk circumspectly, with focus, with clarity, with direction. And for a man, this is especially important.
Yes.
Even if you don't have the full clarity, let that man at least have some inclination of what God is most likely calling them to do. It's very important. It will save you from all forms of heartache. When people haven't discovered their purpose, they try to live life by trial and error. And God help you, if you're married to such a man, you will be together in the trial and error.
That's terrible.
Yeah, that's when they'll be trying all kinds of career. They'll try a job in Dubai and move back, a higher paying job in Afghanistan. And from there, you now say another high paying job in Saudi Arabia, and then another high paying job in Russia, because they haven't quite really discovered what God has called them to do. So they will just be flying from place to, and they'll be carrying you, be dragging you like a bag on the tarmac. If you're not careful, this is why we recommend that a man that would truly lead you and love you must have found their purpose. And if they don't, at least have an inclination of what God is calling them to do in their future.
Yeah, very important, because it does help you as a woman. It's beautiful when you do that. Especially, can I also say that for a woman, it's important that you have also discovered that for yourself. Because when you have discovered that for yourself, you will be able to understand who the ideal man is. So all of those things that my husband is saying, perfect, wonderful. But if you haven't discovered it for your own self, even though the man has discovered his own purpose or his own vision, it may not be in alignment with your own purpose and your own vision. And so, in other words, he is not the right kind of man for you. So he may be ticking all those boxes, but he's not going where you're going. And if you end up getting married to that kind of person, then both of you are going to have a very
turbulent marriage.
Exactly.
Just picture someone trying to go north and another person trying to go south, and they're trying to go together.
That would be so tough. So it's not because both of you are two bad people. No, you're two wonderful people, but you're not compatible. And so when you find that kind of man, going forward now, when you meet him, make sure that it's also someone who is hardworking. It's not just someone who is just fantasizing. Oh, I hope that in 10 years' time I'm going to have a Lamborghini. I'm going to be living in my mansion. I'm going to have 3 children.
Amen. It sounds good though, because
but some guys just talk big. I'm sorry to say, and they're not. You cannot see that they are working towards what they're saying.
There's no substance to what
exactly. They are very lazy. They are waiting for the dream to come and meet them. They're not ready to work
for the dream.
So please do not marry somebody who is lazy about whatever dream or purpose he claims that he has. Marry somebody who is actually working hard at it. You can see the effort, you can see the fruits of his labor, towards that purpose, that vision. You can see it may not be a rich person, it may not be wealthy yet. When I met my husband, I didn't meet him as someone who was already working in purpose. My purpose is this, I'm gonna be the purpose preacher. No.
That's the truth. That's actually the truth.
We didn't meet each other like that. But what I can tell you is that we had an inclination to where God was taking us to. We had an idea. I knew I knew that God had, God would help me to lead and to help single ladies. And so even while I was still single, I didn't know what purpose was all about. I told God to help me to live a life that was chaste, so that I would be able to live a life of testimony and tell people that if God could help me do it, then God can help you do it. So I had an idea of where I was going to, even though I didn't really know what purpose was, so make sure that person understand. Now that by God's grace, God has helped us to discover our purpose, we are also telling you about, so that you will be better than us.
Absolutely.
You don't make the same mistakes or whatever that we made when we were single. So you're starting on a better platform, than the way we started. And so you are clearer about what God's purpose is for your life. And so when you're marrying that person, make sure that person has a sense of direction. Because as a woman, we're supposed to submit to the men, right? And so it will be difficult to submit to somebody who is just taking you nowhere.
It will be
it's going to be so hard.
Trust me.
It's going to be so hard. So make sure that the man knows what God has called him to do in life, where he's going. He has a vision, and it can articulate them to you. And then you're like, okay, yes, I like what I see. My husband there, he was able to tell me where he saw himself in 5 years from now.
In 10 years.
10 years from now too. And I was like, whoa, I could picture myself in that future. I was like, yes, I would like to go with this man on this journey. And that's how it should be.
This is very important, because you don't want to just marry for a fantasy. You want to marry a purposeful person, someone who knows clearly where God is taking them. And that's very, very important, because if you're not aligned, the truth is, one of the core things that often helps men to feel a healthy self-esteem and to feel a sense of fulfillment is when they are actually in purpose. That's what we have realized. Check a man who hasn't found their purpose. There's the likelihood they will probably lack a sense of confidence or confidence about their future. But when you see a man who has found it, or at least have an inclination of it, they are never hopeless. They are never hopeless. No matter what it is that is happening to them, they're never hopeless. They are very focused. They know very strongly that there is something ahead of them. And because of that, like in the words of the Bible about Jesus, it says, looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross. Because he knows that the joy
is ahead.
The joy that was set before
and
him.
such a man too would have a healthier self-esteem. And he will not be intimidated by you, whatever your vision is, whatever your purpose is. Your own purpose as a woman might even be greater than his purpose as a man, so to speak. But he would not feel like, oh, you're going to be greater than me. He will see that two of you are becoming one, and he would help you to flourish. He will help you to blossom, because he knows that his own purpose is different from it, is unique. He would not feel challenged by your purpose.
This is what we're sharing here is extremely important.
Okay,
let's go to number 4.
Yep. Number 4 is leadership and character.
This is very important. John Maxwell said, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. So the question is, this man that you're about to marry, can they influence you positively in a godly way? Or or they will influence you
negatively
in a negative way. So leadership is influence. So look at this person's life. Can they influence you? All right. And there are many questions you can start to ask. Number 1, is this person responsible? Or are they the kind of person that they are not responsible? They always blame somebody, for whatever is, they never own up to their own mistakes. They never own up to their own actions. There's nothing that they are responsible for. Everybody is always to blame. It's always somebody that is not doing it right, somebody that is not doing it well. That person cannot lead. That person will struggle to lead. Check for the consistency of blame. If that person is always blaming somebody, or also check for the consistency of their responsibility, whether they take things that they are responsible for very seriously.
Yes. Also, when it comes to that point, you want to be sure that the person can love you wholeheartedly. You want to be sure that that person can actually be faithful, be loyal, and be committed to you. If the person is already showing signs that he is a cheat, he's keeping other sort of girlfriends. He's not a person who can be committed to one person. A one woman. That's a red flag. That kind of person cannot lead you aright. If he's not showing signs that he would protect you. There are some people who actually, they're still mommy's boys, and it's whatever mommy says that is final. They cannot use their own brain to think for themselves. That kind of person cannot lead you properly. It's his mom that will be leading the marriage. So you've got to be careful when you are looking for a husband. Some guys cannot stand by themselves yet, and they're wanting to marry. They're not ripe for marriage,
and it's because they're pressurizing them to marry.
Yes. So you've got to be very careful as a woman. Make sure that you're marrying someone who can protect you, who can lead you aright, who is loyal, who will love you, wholeheartedly, who is genuine to you, and leadership again is service. Somebody, again, we've talked about service, someone who can serve you, serve you and serve the children,
sacrifice for you.
Yeah, sacrifice for you.
That one is massive.
Not
sacrifice you.
That's deep.
Leadership will not sacrifice you. Leadership will sacrifice for you.
Wow.
So if you marry a man who cannot sacrifice for you, they will most likely sacrifice you. And there are many women right now in marriage that their husband is sacrificing them for a better job, sacrificing them for another woman, sacrificing them for another location. Just sacrifice them. Don't be the sacrifice. Be the kind of person that a man can sacrifice for. This is extremely important because we've seen some women, they have turned sacrificial lambs and they are now getting burnt regularly because they married a man who cannot sacrifice for them. The proof of love is sacrifice.
Absolutely.
The proof of love is sacrifice. So when somebody cannot sacrifice for you, they likelihood do not love you. And this is extremely crucial, especially when you are looking at a man who can lead you. You need to check, can they sacrifice for you? Otherwise, things will be going on like this that they will just be looking at you. You'll be getting burnt by yourself. It's more like that's your
own.
God forbid you have any discrepancy with maybe their family member or anything. They will watch you get burnt. They will not stand up for you or anything like that. Very important. Make sure you are not the sacrificial lamb. Make sure you are the one that is being sacrificed for. Because the Bible says husbands should love their wife as Christ loved the church. So what did Christ do for the church? He sacrificed himself for the church. The church is not the sacrifice. It is the head that sacrificed himself. For the church.
And that's why, talking about sacrifice, it's important that you as a woman also, know your worth. You got a really good sense of self-esteem, self-worth. You know your value, because when you know your value, you would not throw yourself, you will not give yourself to somebody who is not going to love you, who cannot sacrifice for you. It's when you know your worth, then the person you're going to give yourself to submit to will be somebody, will be a person who can actually cherish you, who will value you, who values you, who will look after you, who will go all the way to make sure that nothing happens to you, and nobody, no brother, no sister, no family, no parents can talk to you anyhow, can treat you anyhow.
Absolutely.
That you just keep your mouth shut and
he will fight for you.
You're like, yes, I'm the cheerleader in this house. Now come and try me. Where is that person that wants to try me? Because you've got a husband who can stand up for you.
Yeah.
And that's what a man is supposed to do. Don't marry a man who it's his parents, or it's his parents, so it's whatever. It's that kind of person is not ready for marriage.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you know your worth, if you're dating a guy who cannot open his mouth and stand up for you, defend you, then that guy is not ready to be a husband yet.
Yeah.
He's not yet ready to be a real man. So do not say yes to that kind of person.
Yeah. On this aspect of leadership as well, marry someone who is willing to empower you or support you to become all that God has created you to be.
Yes, that's right.
In fact, one of the major elements of leadership is empowerment. They are not threatened by where God is taking you. They are not threatened by your potential and who you can become. They are actually willing to give their money, give their time, watch out if you are the only one giving in that relationship. You are the only one giving in that friendship. Let's even talk about friendship now before you enter the relationship. And that person has never sacrificed anything for you. They are never pushing to help you become all that God has created you to be. My sister, please run far away. They're always giving an excuse. I don't have. I don't do this.
I don't this. It's the only thing they give is excuse. That's the only thing they can give. It reminds me of the story of a lady who, she was single at the time, and she's into ministry. God has called her to be like a gospel artist and things like that. And whenever she's going for rehearsals or to going to the studio to practice, and probably she wants to release an album and things like that, she was courting this guy, but he was never there. He would never never. There is always, even when he had known that, you would have known, for a long time that my fiance has. He would never. He never has time for that. And this is a woman who God is calling into that sort of ministry, and God has showed her a lot of things about her life, and what He's going to do through that ministry, through her, and getting married, courting this guy, she realized that if I marry this guy,
interested in our future.
He's not going to help me blossom. He's not going to empower me or my ministry. There is no point, because he doesn't want to have anything to do with that ministry.
Please don't excuse it. Ladies, when you notice this, don't excuse it. Don't say, he's a very busy person. He's a very busy person, or he's far away. It's because our relationship is long distance. That's why. He doesn't always have time. No, that is rubbish. That is rubbish. Because we've done long distance relationship together to the glory of God. And I remember when my wife was, studying for her medicine, and I was also, doing some ministerial stuff. We're still involved in each other.
Lives.
Check what that person is maybe wearing before they go live, or before they do a video. Like, there's got to be some interest, some lending of hand in what exactly you are doing, and they are also interested in pushing you all the way up in the direction of the purpose of God for your life. That is leadership. If they are threatened by where God is taking you, they are threatened by your potential, you will never become it under their leadership. That's the truth. You will never become all that God has created. You will not maximize your potential under the leadership of a person who is threatened by your leadership. A true trait of leadership is that they are willing to help you become all that God has created you to be. So check very much whether this person is not abusive. They are not, their self-esteem is in place, is intact. They know their own identity. So your growth and your prosperity and your success is not diminishing them. There are some people like that who feel like the success of their wife is diminishing them. There are people like that. It's affecting them
psychologically.
Exactly. So because of that, guess what they do? They will now cover.
They'll cage you.
They will be the
so
ceiling.
you can never rise beyond a certain level. Yeah.
That's not leadership.
Yeah.
That is not that is leadership. That's LIDE.
Lead. Oh my gosh.
They provide
love that.
They provide a lead over you that you cannot go beyond a certain.
I love it.
That's very important.
He mentioned something that's very important. I just want to quickly highlight. Don't marry someone who's abusive. There are many women who end up getting married to someone who is abusive to them. Abuse doesn't really. This is not until the guy starts slapping you.
No, abuse is not physical abuse.
Whipping you. But when the guy starts making comments that you're not good enough, you're not looking good enough, you're not enough.
Look at the way you are looking.
Those are negative remarks. And personally, I believe that even emotional abuse is worse than physical abuse because it affects you psychologically. It affects what you believe about yourself. It damages you in the mind, before they now start, graduating to physical. So when you're dating a person and the person is already making you feel like you're not enough or you can never find someone who's better than me, those kind of remarks or says negative things about the way that you look, those are horrible words, and it begins to threaten you. Or even if you guys have misunderstandings or arguments and the guy begins to slap you and hit you, don't give excuse that it's because he was angry or it's because I made him angry. No,
that's the sign of an abusive relationship.
Because when you end up getting married to him, it's going to become even worse.
It will be worse.
So do not excuse any abusive behavior. If someone is beating you, that person does not value you, doesn't appreciate you. So get out of that relationship. Don't give him a second chance. Get out.
Don't give any excuse. And I know that whenever women hear these things, we talked about excuses. You're trying to make excuse for the person because you are emotionally involved with the person. But please don't, for the sake of your future. It's too much weight to carry when somebody is already abusive to you with words, especially about your body image. This one is very critical. There was one that somebody was sharing with me recently. The husband would be telling the wife, look at how fat you are, look at the way you look, and this woman started to lose confidence in herself, that she now started to even hide from the public, because she feels like, of course, if the person that's meant to love you the most in the world is abused, it doesn't like the way you look and all of those sort of things like that, there's a way the person who will marry you, that man must make you feel like a queen, like the best woman in the world, the prettiest woman in the world. And they should not just, they should show it, say it, show it. All right, that's leadership. That is leadership, and very, very, very important. If they don't see you as the most beautiful woman, most amazing woman, all of those things, no matter your flaws, if they don't already see you like that, please don't marry them. All right? It doesn't mean they won't correct you, all right, but it means that they see you like that. They see you like who you can become. That's very important.
Because those positive words matter. And I just remember this. I think I should mention that when you are dating a guy or you're in a relationship with a guy, it's also very important that you are not sexually involved with him. Because when you're already sexually involved with a guy as a woman, when he begins to show those negative traits, you feel like you've given everything.
You feel too invested to go back.
Yeah, and so it will be hard for you to say no. So when you've not given your body yet, you're still psychologically intact there. You're still thinking, you're still able to think with your head, like, why is this guy treating me like this? I deserve better. But when you've already given your body, you feel like you've given your all to him, and you don't want to feel like you are disadvantaged. You don't want to put yourself in that kind of position. So you struggle to get out of that relationship, because you're already emotionally and physically and all the leads invested. Try as much as possible to avoid being sexually involved when you are not married to a guy. So that you can make decisions with your head, with a clear head. Exactly.
Very, very important, because many people, once they are committed like that, with their body, their head has gone. That's finished. All right. Lastly, today, of course, this list is not exhaustive. What we know is that there are more. There are actually more, but we have tried to narrow down to this core five, which we believe are very, very important. Number 5 is generous and not selfish. Generous and not selfish. Please, we are begging you. we can almost do it the Nigerian way, where I will prostrate, my wife will kneel down for you. Please don't marry someone who is selfish. Someone who is selfish does not have your time. Someone who is selfish will never give you anything that is theirs. Someone who is selfish is not for you. That's very true. They are with you, but they are not for you. They
think about themselves only. It's first and only. You don't really matter in their plan.
In their world.
And there are many men like that, many husbands actually like that.
Yeah.
They think about how
their career,
their life,
first,
everything,
their money first.
But then they don't give, they package everything and dish the information out to their wives and like didn't you even think about us? Did you think about me and my children? Like what? Like how could you come up with this kind of because the children, the wife, they don't in that plan.
In their world.
It's all about him, how he can prosper, how he can do well, how he can do everything. So it's important that you don't marry somebody who just thinks about himself alone and you're not part of
the plan.
Exactly. You're just an addendum. If you want to come along, then come along. If you don't want to come along, you can stay. That's fine. I'm going.
Yeah. And they will use whatever excuse for it.
Yeah.
I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again of a lady that was going to marry a man. And she brought the man home. Young man, both of them were still dating and courting at the time. Brought the man home to meet her father. Our father welcomed the young man to the home and then asked a very important question. Very simple question, so to speak. The father asked the young man, please, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? All right. Simple question. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? This guy is very articulate, very intelligent, has a bright future, wonderful potential. So this guy began to speak about where he sees himself in the next 5 years and spoke about with so much passion, articulation, and clarity. So you can say this person has vision of where they are going. And then he went on to share this thing. According to the dad, he shared it for almost about 15 minutes of where he sees himself in the next 5 years. All plans laid out. Someone you will say, wonderful man, visionary. Unfortunately, in all of those 5-year plan, the lady was not mentioned once. Once. He did not even mention the name of the girl once in the entire 5-year plan. And he spoke with so much passion, so much zest, so much energy, so much clarity and vision. Hey, the father listened. The father applauded him, clapped for him and all of that. The father now called the daughter to the kitchen and said, dear daughter, from what I observed, this man does not have you in his plans. Don't marry this man. If you marry this man, you are on your own. The daughter said, Daddy, it's because you asked him what is his plan for. You didn't ask him what plan does he have for us. So daughter was making all kinds of excuses and the man said, I'm not supporting this marriage. The daughter said, Daddy, if you love me and you want to make me happy, you have to support this marriage and all of that. Anyway, the father's hand was forced. They got married. The marriage did not last. I think it barely lasted 3 years. Why? Because in the 5-year plan, the lady was not there. So she was probably more or less like a threat to his 5-year plan. So don't marry someone that you're a threat to wherever it is that they think they're going.
Now, that's powerful. That is very deep. I mean, I don't think I have so much more to say because that example just sort of, explains it all. Do not marry somebody who is selfish.
Yeah.
Very, very important.
Make sure they are generous givers.
Yes.
Generous forgivers. Generous givers. Generous forgivers.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they are not forgiving, if they don't give, we mentioned that earlier on as well. Don't marry them.
Don't marry somebody who is stingy.
Don't marry someone who is
please,
stingy.
women, we need. I mean, guys need to know that women need to be taken care of. Yes.
Speak for the women.
Yes,
Speak
so
for
we
the
need to
women.
take care of. So please, ladies, if he's a stingy guy, you're gonna struggle in that marriage. That's just the truth. Marry somebody who is willing to give, not someone who just doesn't want to. Yeah, it's only about him, but you ain't time for you to spend. Keep it. No, marry somebody. Yes, you're not.
The women in the group chat, they are supporting you. They said you are in the spirit.
Yes.
Flesh and blood has not revealed
to me. Or somebody who is generous. Financial generosity, very, very important.
They may not have a lot,
yes,
but you can still tell they are generous.
Yes, it's not until you have millions, but if someone doesn't even have so much and he still doesn't want to spend little on you or for you, that is not good. You're going to also struggle in that marriage. Marry somebody who is willing to give.
Yeah.
And it starts when he's even still, both of you are courting, and you can see that he has a tendency to give. But when you guys are courting and he doesn't give anything. Instead, you're the only one that is giving.
You are the only one giving. You are in a relationship with yourself.
Yeah, you communicate your needs. Don't wait till marriage. Communicate what you want to be happening in marriage while you're courting. And ensure that the guy begins to change. If you do not see the change yet, don't think that marriage is going to make him change. That's already
marriage don't change people.
So make sure that you can tolerate, you can accept that weakness.
Yeah.
If you cannot accept it, then do not get married to the person.
Yeah.
Don't want to get married and start complaining and start nagging and start. No. Make sure that you can see the changes, because while the person is courting you, the person is most likely to change because they work on bringing out their best. Yeah. So if you have accepted what you think is best, don't think that in marriage, God will help them. If they're intentional about changing, they are going to change. But marriage will not necessarily change anybody. Yeah.
So, we want to believe that this has opened some of our eyes and helped us quite a lot. We have really shared those 5 things from a deep place in our heart. Next week, by the grace of God, we're going to be talking about 5 qualities that you should actually look out for in a wife as well. Yeah. And then the men, please, you can bring your A game. Don't worry. Me too, I'll be in the spirit. We recommend it for both men and women to watch. And we want to thank everyone who has watched this today. Right. With that, we've come to the end of this episode. But please do us a favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel, so that we can keep bringing you wonderful
share it on different platforms. So WhatsApp group, Facebook, Instagram, wherever.
I put it into your church WhatsApp group. Your church WhatsApp group. All right, very important. And of course, if you're going through anything and you want to book a session with us, you can go to samuelekundayo.com/coaching and or send us a message, send us an email, send us a comment, leave us a comment. We'll reply to the comment later.
Email info@samuelekundayo.com
or info@samuelekundayo.com, and we can talk about how you can book a session with us. All right, we are able to help. All right, quickly, we want to appreciate everyone who's joined us live today, from our very own Ifeoluwa Roshegbe.
Thank you.
God bless you, sis. Omotola A, thank you very much. Damilola Ifebolade, thank you very much. Adejuto Oluwakemi, God bless you. Jacinta Anuka, God bless you. Thank you. Agbefure Ohio, God bless you, sis.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining today. Itunu Awogboro, God bless you. Amarachi Oyewole, God bless you, sis. Thank you. It's a new Agboro. I mentioned earlier. Dr. Temitope, God bless you, sir.
Thank you.
Unyimi Abasi, Jeremiah, God bless you. Thanks for joining today. Folashade Johnson, God bless you, ma. If that's the Folashade Johnson that I think that's one of my mummies in Canada.
Wow,
God bless you,
right.
ma. Thanks for joining today. We appreciate you. Roland Sunday, thanks for joining. God bless you. Dami Hope, thanks for joining. Zainab Suleiman, God bless you, sis. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Adesito Luakemi, I believe. I mentioned that earlier. Philippa Mehana, God bless you. Thanks for joining today. We really, really, really appreciate you. And Yola Joe, thanks for joining as well. God bless you. Have a fantastic rest of the day wherever you are. We love you, and we'll see you again next week. In Jesus' name.